Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Girl MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the arrival of Michael Bullock. If he does show up or not tonight, we don't know. And unfortunately, Dee Dee Woodson will not be with us tonight due to personal reasons beyond her control. However, we are just about set to go and to get everything going here. So we're gonna start it off as always with AEW, and we started it off with a tag team fight as it was Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page. They went up against QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes. When it was all said and done, Adam Hangman Page and Kenny Omega does indeed win the match at 13 minutes and 45 seconds. Solid opener. Solid opener to say the very least. It was definitely a good match, and I could give this easily 3 stars. I thought this was a very solid opener. Great tag team action. They told a pretty good story, but at the end of the day, you got to give credit where credit's due. Omega and Dustin Rhodes. Omega and Hangman Page looks really good as they are now on the verge of Fyter Fest, where they will defend the AEW World Tag Team titles against the Best Friends, and they keep their momentum going. So, really, nothing more to add. This was a very good matchup, to say the very least. So, Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
Well, I'll tell you, MF. I got to give it about 3 to 3.5 for this. Dustin Rhodes really does not get credit for being as great as he is. He suffered a pretty nasty accidental collision with Omega early and was clearly dinged from it. He shook it off and was still the crispest worker of the bunch in this bout. He is just as constantly good as there is in the business today. And much of that can be attributed to his understanding of his limitations at this point in his career, as well as his willingness to evolve and grow as a worker. The match was the standard strong in-ring performance from Omega and Hangman, while Marshall had the opportunity to shine as his on-screen relationship with Ali took center stage late. It was just the right action-packed start to the show that we fans have become accustomed to with AEW Dynamite. So I got to give it 3 to 3.5 stars. It's one of my top fights of the night for sure. So there's really nothing more to say except MF. We got ourselves a women's match. We got one beauty, and this other one. Where did this one come from?
Okay, I'm wondering this myself. Anna Jay went 1-on-1 against Abandon. I think it's where it's Abaddon. Now she's making her debut. This is her Abaddon's debut. However, if you know her on the indie scene, she is a humongous name on the indies. So Abaddon makes her debut and destroys Anna Jay in 1 minute and 41 seconds. So I think everybody talks about Rosemary, everybody talks about Su Yung and how sadistic and weird and psycho. This girl takes it to the cake. Abaddon, like I said, I don't know anything about her, but let me tell you, Twitter went ablaze that when they found out Abaddon is now joining AEW. She is a huge name in the indie scene, so supposedly this is a major get for AEW and maybe even an upgrade in the women's division. So, I mean, with the news of Dr. Britt Baker down with injury, with now the news that Chris Statlander is out for the remainder of the year with a torn ACL, which I reported to Anthony and the guys over the weekend, to get Abaddon a welcome added addition to AEW, apparently, Anthony. So, like I said, don't know much about her, but apparently she's pretty big on the indie scene.
I well, you follow the indie scene more than I do, MF, and I'll tell
This
you,
one I don't really know, so you might have
I
to
don't
go to
either.
Derek Ferreira. Derek might know her, but I have
Oh, maybe.
nothing about
I
this one.
I only the only there is only one thing I do know. When I saw this girl, when I saw this gal coming out, I'm like, uh, I didn't know what to say. I was like Mauro Ranallo saying there are no words. I mean, you know, you bring up Rosemary, you bring up Sue Young, but there are two other names that come to mind. I thought about Nikki Cross at one point, but one name that really came to mind, someone who was a big part of the TNA Knockouts division early in the run, and someone that I know MF was a big fan of, Roxy Laveau. I kind of got a little Roxy vibe from that one, but all I know is that one is a grape short of a fruit salad and one French fry short of a Happy Meal. That's all I know. I mean, that is the scariest. That is the scariest woman I have ever laid my eyes on. I'm like, oh my god. I mean, she must be from some foreign planet or something. I mean, oh my gosh. Um, but I guess she's apparently going to be the first lady of the Dark Order now. I guess she's joining the Dark Order. Well, Anna Jay, rather. Her joining the Dark Order is an interesting storyline development, if only because the group is lacking a representative from the women's division. The only negative is that Jay's story feels incredibly expedited. Her debut, followed by a subsequent losing streak that gives way to her desperation to join a cult and be accepted, would have been better suited for weeks of storytelling rather than one loss to an unstoppable force like Abaddon. Speaking of whom, the enigmatic demon princess of the squared circle absolutely should be signed by AEW immediately. She is unlike any other female performer in the industry and would help bring AEW's women's division the uniqueness it could use as it continues to build its momentum. So this is probably going to be, NA dud or what have you. And so I don't know what else there is to say except MF. Very interesting developments coming out of this. Anna Jay joining the Dark Order, the first lady of the Dark Order, and who knows what could be the future for Abaddon going forward. But I mean, I don't know what else there is to say except, um, we get to see another old school legend um, coming up here. So it's an NA to a dud. So I just wanted to give my 2 cents about Abaddon. So I don't know where she came from or what planet she touched down from, but you thought Chris Statlander was weird? Oh, that ain't nothing compared to this one. This one is, like I said, one French fry short of a Happy Meal and one grape short of a fruit salad. So there's nothing more to say, MF, except let's move on to our next bout.
Yeah, so the next thing that we did have was MJF one on one with Billy Gunn. MJF wins the match in 10 minutes and 11 seconds. I mean, I'm gonna say it like this. This match was practically paint by numbers. There wasn't really anything big about this fight. It was an all right match. To me, there was really nothing amazing about it. At the end of the day, I'm gonna say it. Um, the, the, the rating I'm gonna give this fight is I'm gonna give this about maybe 2.5 to 3, but more 2.5 than anything else. It was all right. There wasn't anything amazing about it, but it was a nice win for MJF, and there's really nothing more to say. So Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. So 2.5 stars. I 100% agree with MF's rating. MJF is a great heel, and having to cheat his way to win is certainly an element of his character. But why did he have to use the dynamite diamond ring to beat an aging veteran in Billy Gunn when he was able to simply out wrestle Jungle Boy back at the Double or Nothing event almost a month ago? That aside, the idea of MJF and Jungle Boy continuing their rivalry after their superb match on pay per view is majorly appealing. Sprinkle in Marco's stunt and the potential for a Haas War / Be a Man fight between Luchasaurus and Wardlow, and you have a program the fans can eagerly get behind. No doubt about it. Maybe we get a rematch at Fyter Fest. It's very possible. So there's really nothing more to say. 2.5 stars. That is definitely the rating here. MF nailed it. So MF, let's move on to a TNT Championship match where Cody defended against someone that I'm sure you know very well, and if so, I hope you dropped that 96-97 JR knowledge on it.
Well, there's really nothing else to add on this one, Anthony, because who he went up against, Cody, did the open challenge and went one on one with none other than Ricky Starks. Now you're wondering, wait a minute, Ricky Starks, who is he? He's actually a part of the revival of NWA. If you watch NWA Power on YouTube, which was absolutely major league successful and has become a great brand on its own. Uh, and you gotta give major props to Billy Corrigan, the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins, who actually is the executive director. He's the grand poobah of the NWA now. He revived this company, made it back to the old school. You remember back in the old days, the WCW Saturday nights, or the old school television studio style wrestling that you don't ever see nowadays. They were the originators, and they went back to that type of style. And one of their biggest names, one of their big stars, was Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks was actually a big time player, and now his made is now we don't know if this is a permanent move, if he's permanently with AEW, or if we're going to start seeing guys coming through the revolving door, because he said he's going to put the title up against anybody in any organization around the world. If you want to fight, you can fight for this title. So Ricky Starks of NWA jumps through, and Cody successfully defends the title in 8 minutes and 36 seconds. Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
Wow. Fantastic match here. I got to give this another 3, maybe 3.5 for this. I mean, this was a fun sprint. I mean, it was the shortest of the TNT title matches, but this merely whetted the appetite of the AEW fans, making them want to see more of Starks in an AEW ring. That is the ultimate compliment for a wrestler working his first match on cable television. He did not appear overwhelmed or taken aback by the moment, and the result was a solid match with one of the standard bearers in AEW. Had the match had more of a story to it, or more time for the competitors to flesh out what they wanted to do, it likely would have been even better. As it stands, this was a great introduction to a young star one can only hope catches on with the company or elsewhere so that he can grow, evolve, and build his star in the industry. There's no question about it. Now, I did a little research, MF. Absolute Ricky Starks is a former, now correct me if I'm wrong, isn't he a former NWA television champion?
Yes, he is. You are correct.
Because I saw a YouTube video of him winning the title from an old WWE mainstay in Trevor Murdoch,
Mm-hmm.
winning the NWA Television Championship on that show. So, first time ever seeing this young man. I mean, I was thoroughly impressed. I wish they would have gotten more time. That's a damn shame that they cut it. It was criminally short. But for what we got in that 8.5 or so minutes, that was easily 3 to 3.5 stars, hands down. And I make it. It's very tough to watch AEW and NXT at the same time. But I will say this though: if there's one thing that I will watch live on an AEW Dynamite show, it is the TNT Championship, because I know I'm guaranteed to get something really special. And Cody delivers again. I mean, him and it it's definitely going to be him and Hager at Fighter Fest. There's no question about that. I mean, that's got potential to be something good. We'll see, but so that's really all there is to say on that. So 3.5 stars is my rating. I mean, you can easily call it one of the fights of the night. Um, I don't really get a chance to watch NWA Power much, but I do know MF. You know, I'm sure he can drop some of that 96, 97 JR knowledge that he does so well. So that's all I can say. So MF, I mean, what do you know about absolute Ricky Starks other than the fact that he is a former NWA TV champion?
Basically, he's one of the most dynamic individuals that you've seen. And what you saw here tonight was a small sample of what he normally does in NWA Power. He is entertaining. He is a little braggart. He is a little braggart. Those shits. He got a little bit of a superstar attitude. But he's one of the baby faces in the company. He's well loved, well liked. A lot of people loves Ricky Starks. His style is very entertaining. And I must say, he would be a perfect fit for AEW. He has that style. I think him and Sammy Guevara would absolutely tear
Oh,
the house down. I mean, that's how good
amen.
they are. They're small in stature, they're quick as a hiccup, they're lightning speed, and they also have that aerodynamic. And that's one thing that we see is that the move sets that they bring is very, very good. And I think that's the one thing that we're going to talk about down the line somewhere in the near future. But at the end of the day, absolutely well done. I thought they did a great job with this match. So I really got nothing more to add. I really got nothing more to say. And yeah, this was at least easily 3.5 to 3 3/4. So, I mean 3 to 3.5 stars. This was well done. Nothing more to add. So we're gonna move right along. Uh, the next fight of the night we had was the Young Bucks going up against the super bad squad of Jimmy Jacobs and Kip Sabian. Young Bucks wins the match in 15 minutes and 22 seconds. Easily, easily, I can give this 3.5 stars. This was a really good match, very good tag team battle. I think the match did run a little long, which kind of was a little bit of a detriment. I really think that they could have done better with this, but it fit in a nice storyline. It really did a great job. I really think there's really nothing more to add. So I enjoyed it. I thought they did a great job with it, and there's really nothing more for me to add. So Anthony, it's back to you. 3.5 stars. You could even go maybe 4, but 3.5 for me.
Absolutely, 3.5 to 4. I couldn't agree more. This worked for a few reasons, MF. Not the least of which was the manner in which Havoc and Sabian were elevated. The team continues to improve with every passing week, a testament to their chemistry and work ethic, but also AEW's willingness to allow them to find themselves as a team. After months of floating around Dynamite and Dark, trying to find their place on the show, they have emerged as this legitimate threat to the AEW World Tag Team Championships and a great addition to the heel side of things in a loaded tag team division. The Young Bucks were excellent here as usual, with Matt selling his rib injury and Nick just exploding into the match like a buzzsaw, tearing through the competition and throwing caution to the wind while doing so. The story of Butcher and Blade trying to get involved and throw the Bucks off their game, while FTR's appearance seemingly negated them, was a nice way to keep all four of these teams intertwined for what I think will very likely be some sort of multi-man tag bout at Fyter Fest. Given the work of the teams to this point, this could very well steal the show at Fyter Fest should they go this route, which I hope they do. So there's nothing more to say. 3.5 to 4 stars. You can make an argument for fight of the night, no question about it. So nothing more to say, MF. Let's move on to the next bout.
Well, there's only one bout left, and that's the main event, guys. And it was the best friends going up against the sex gods of Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, and the no more contenders for the AEW World Tag Team titles were on the line. I think this was the Fyter Fest one, and when it was all said and done, the winners of the bout in 15 minutes and 43 seconds. And I guess you could say, still the number one contenders for the AEW World Tag Team titles. The men who will get the opportunity at Fyter Fest for the titles. It will be the best friends, Trent Beretta and Chucky Taylor, successfully defend their spot. They keep their number one contender spot. So, Anthony Foyo, it's yours.
Yeah. Another 3.5 to 4 stars. The match was a really fun, energetic main event that packed a ton of action into its 15 minutes. Best friends winning and paying off their month-long march to the titles was absolutely the right move, while the screwiness of Orange Cassidy's interference provided the emphasis for what should be a fantastical and hugely entertaining match with Jericho at Fyter Fest. And yes, that is official. Cassidy breaking out of his shell and unleashing an ass kicking on Jericho was exactly what fans needed to see out of that character after last week. And suddenly, there was a ton of intrigue as to exactly which version of Freshly Squeezed we will see come either July 1 or July 8. It was the perfect angle to close the show on, and one that will at least conceptually attract viewers to next week's go home edition of Dynamite before we begin what is going to be a very exciting 2 weeks worth of Fyter Fest pay-per-view quality matches on free television. I love it. So another 3.5 to 4. Another one of the fights of the night for sure. I mean, it's between this and the other tag bout that was the fight of the night honors. So there's really nothing more to say. MF, Orange Cassidy, Chris Jericho, Fyter Fest, it is official. How about it?
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting matchup, no doubt about it. I think they have done very well. I think, it was good for what it was worth. I think there's really nothing more to add. So, yeah, it was a great match. 3.5 stars for me, in the main event, and I think they did a really good job on it. And yeah, there's really nothing more to add. The story was really well done. At the end of the day, I thought it was an incredible match, and I thought it was a good way to close the show. So, there was really nothing more to add. I think it was a very good, decent AEW show. I think we can all agree with that. And Anthony, they did well. I thought this was a well done show tonight.
Very well done show. This episode did nearly everything right, as not only did every action seemingly have a purpose, but I was also surprised on more than one occasion. Doing a video package for Anna Jay, then having her get squashed to smithereens by Abaddon was jarring, yet led to a possible addition to the Dark Order. But can we talk about Ricky Starks, though? I mean, he made it. Suffice to say, the guy can go, and if this will be his new home, I'm definitely all for it. If there's one complaint, it's that the Young Bucks match did come off a bit too Young Buck for my liking. I know it's a common criticism, but it is what it is. But for my liking, it seemed like they didn't necessarily need a win against a team that has been doing really well establishing themselves. If they did need the win, then perhaps Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc could have come off a bit stronger. Small little nitpick, I suppose. But other than that, this was an episode that really covered all the bases. I mean, you had 3, maybe 4 matches that were like 3.5 stars or higher. A show like that, you got to give that easily an 8.5 out of 10 if you were giving it a rating. So, well done show. I mean, the Fyter Fest card is really coming together here, and we have 5 matches on the card for Fyter Fest as of now. Moxley and Cage for the World Heavyweight Championship. Omega and Page against Best Friends for the tag titles. Cody and Hager for the TNT belt. And it was also announced tonight that Hikaru Shida will defend the women's title against super bad Penelope Ford. Turned out that was a championship committee moment, I guess, from last week. And then, of course, the match that was added this evening, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy squaring off against Chris Jericho. And next week on AEW Dynamite, Sammy Guevara will go up against Matt Hardy. Brody Lee and Colt Cabana against Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. Okay. Wardlow and Luchasaurus. We're going to get it. Lumberjack match. Oh, my. FTR against the Natural Nightmares. And John Moxley is going to face an opponent to be determined. And Taz is going to sit in on commentary. That's going to be very interesting. So, interesting show all around for next week. So, great show this evening. Spoiler alert, I think it was better than the other show this evening, if I'm going to be honest with you. So, if I had to give it a rating, MF, I would give it 8.5 because we had 4 matches that were 3.5 stars or higher.
Agreed. All right. So with that said, we're just gonna dive right in. It's time for NXT, and well, if we're gonna start the show off, let's start it off with a bang. The NXT World Tag Team titles on the line. Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner of Imperium versus Breezango, Fandango, and Tyler Breeze. When it was all said and done, winners of the bout in 9 minutes and 3 seconds, and still the NXT World Tag Team Champions Imperium successfully defended the titles. I gotta say it, great match to jump it off. This was actually a fun match, really good. I loved how they did the storyline. This was more entertaining than I thought it was gonna be. I really thought this was not gonna be a great match at all, and it ended up being, I'll say it, a better match than even I expected. 3 to 3.5 stars, and I was pleasantly surprised. I thought this was gonna be funny, ha comedy type fight, and no, they got pretty serious with this one. So I got really nothing bad to say. This was actually better than expected. Anthony Florio, I enjoyed it.
With guys like Imperium in the ring, you really think there was going to be comedy stuff in this?
Well, when you got Fandango and Tyler Breeze,
understandable.
I mean,
but look who they went up. They went up against Imperium. They are not funny, haha guys. They're like me. They're no nonsense guys.
Okay,
that's all there is to it. And you could also make an argument about 0 F's given as well, because that's also my mantra, as you all know. But anyways, I will give you this, MF. Breezango, that was a funny haha entrance, poking fun at Imperium's entrance there. And after that entrance, the whole match was a blast, though. I agree with you. Breezango fought hard. They kept up the pace with a tag team known for always working a sprint. It was a clash of styles that went a while and still felt like it barely got started. The ending shows that the tag team division is truly only beginning to find its footing again. Fresh teams are stepping up. It'll be interesting to watch who truly shines in this fresh perspective for NXT. The Black and Gold brand has always been the closest to a tag team paradise in WWE. Add in the Velveteen, a possible new team of the Velveteen Dream and Dexter Lumis, and the division has such a variety of fascinating personalities to explore. I'm right there with you, MF. 3 to 3.5 stars. That is definitely the correct rating for this matchup here. Imperium still the champions. No surprise there. So, onward and upward for Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner. So, nothing more to say, MF. Let's continue on.
Then we had Damian Priest versus Big Damo, Killian Dane, 1-on-1. And Damian Priest wins the match. 5 minutes and 41 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
2.5 stars for this one. While this was better than previous Priest and Dane matches, the two have very little chemistry. This was not the right matchup to help either man. The Archer of Infamy played the babyface in this contest, but he may not be right for that role. Hopefully something is in store for Damian Priest. He is so talented and a unique brand of size and athleticism. No one can quite compare to the Archer of Infamy, even on Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. So that's all there is to say on that. It's a solid 2.5 for the effort. So MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, 2.5. I agree. I think this was a good match, and nothing to more add. So, okay. Next up, we had. Well, okay. Oh God. Okay. How am I gonna say this before I don't get myself in trouble? Okay, Xia Li one on one with Aaliyah. Robert Stone was there, I guess, representing Aaliyah. Aaliyah wins the match in a minute 49 because Robert Stone got so drunk that he basically puked in the ring. He,
Not just any puke. Not just any puke, MF. It was a power puke.
oh God, I was hoping he wasn't gonna go there.
God
Oh,
bless Salute Your Shorts, man.
oh God. Thank God Dee Dee is not here. She probably would be laughing her freaking ass off. And Michael Bullock, too. Oh, Lord. So, this was a dud. This was a horrible. No, I'm not even touching this. I'm leaving this one alone. And Florio, I think you're gonna be the same way. We're not touching this at all. Um,
we are not touching it. But I do want to say, Aaliyah is one of the most naturally beautiful women you will ever lay your eyes on.
okay.
Gorgeous.
Well, okay. Well done. And I'll go with that. Then we got there was a whole bunch of segments after this. So I mean, there's a whole bunch of segments. Adam Cole, and actually there was a big announcement on this one. And Anthony, I want to get your hands on this because next week on NXT we're gonna have Keith Lee, Johnny Gargano, and um Finn
Balor.
Balor, and that match is going to be for the North American title. Then, after that, the winner of that fight gets to fight Adam Cole. And guys, for the first time ever in NXT history, winner takes all. You
Title for
heard me
title.
right. It is truly NXT's version of the Ultimate Challenge. It will be the NXT champion, Adam Cole, going up against the winner of the triple threat match, whoever becomes the North American champion, and it will be literally title for title, winner takes all. Oh my God, Anthony, the balance of power could shift forever. Whoever walks out a double champion.
My God. I don't know how to follow it, but I'm going to try my best here. I do want to set the record straight here. The triple threat match, Keith Lee, Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor, NXT North American Championship, that takes place next week. The big match with Adam Cole, it's literally gonna go head to head with the second night of AEW Fighter Fest, Wednesday night, July 8th. The fireworks on the 4th of July will carry over into that July 8th show. I mean, that's the main event. Nobody touch you do not touch that. So, but all in all, it was a rush segment to set up so many big matches in a short time. Lee versus Gargano versus Balor makes sense right off the bat. It could have used more build-up, though. That's the only small little nitpick. The story went right from the Prince challenging the Limitless One last week to getting the sudden triple threat. Meanwhile, possibly Lee versus Cole is a story that could have been built over months to a major takeover. Instead, the two singles men's titles in NXT will be unified, at least for a time, within the next month. These matches should be absolutely incredible. The build-up, though, it could have been a little better. That's my only little nitpick on that. Even though Regal, did a great job announcing it, but my God, I mean, Lee versus Gargano versus Balor, North American Championship triple threat match next week. Oh yeah, I am not missing that. I'm definitely gonna go out of my way to see that one. I'll put AEW on DVR if I have to. I don't care. Um, Same thing when it comes to July 8th. I mean, that's the big one. Um, Adam Cole defending against whoever the North American champion is. It doesn't matter who it is. It's going to be a great match regardless. But MF, I got to be honest with you. There's only one match you can do. Cole versus Gargano, been done. All were instant classics. They had that great series of matches last year. They blew the doors off. They were great. Cole already fought Balor. I think that was right around last December or so, right around the holiday season. I believe they had their match on NXT for the title, and that went off. That did not go off without a hitch, but still, the only match, the most logical match that makes sense to me, you got to do Adam Cole versus Keith Lee. That's the big money match right there. I mean, don't get me wrong, Gargano or Balor versus Cole, that will be awesome. It will be. But if you want fresh, like we all do, especially me, Keith Lee versus Adam Cole, winner take all. MF, come on, you got to agree with me on this one. It's got to be Lee versus Cole. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to go on the record. I'm going with Keith Lee to win that match next week. What do you say, MF?
Think about this. If Keith Lee wins it all, if he gets the belts, everybody wanted Keith Lee to be the NXT champion. Vince is very high on him. Triple H is very high on him. Everybody's high on him. We all were like, and remember the question we were asking? Who's going to be the one that Adam Cole was going to dump, that was going to dump off the title? What was the name that I utter before everybody else?
Keith Lee.
You remember, I was the first one that dumped the name out there and called for Keith Lee. When Michael Bullock asked, who is the guy that could dump and take the title from Adam Cole? And remember, I was the first one to jump up and yell Keith Lee's name.
Yes, you were.
All of a sudden, now there's a possibility that Keith Lee might be fighting for the NXT title.
July 8th, book it.
I think it's going to happen. But then after that, think about this. Keith Lee becomes a double champion. That's great. That's awesome. But look who also could be waiting in the wings for him. Killian Cross. Think about that. You got Gargano. Gargano's going to want a shot. Now, maybe this is where you put the North American title on Gargano. Maybe give Johnny that belt. And then think about the war between Keith Lee and Killian Cross. And the mind games that Scarlett Bordeaux might want to throw. But there's a little, there's the HBIC who's going to probably snuff her out. That's going to want to get a hands on her if she starts trying to mess with Keith Lee. Because you know how that goes with Mia Yim. She's not going to have that. So, how does that play out? That's going to be real interesting. NXT, you just got our attention and then some. And speaking of getting attention and whatnot, alright. So, we got ourselves a one-on-one match. Kaden Carter with her bestie, Casey Catanzaro. And she went up against Dakota Kai and her heavy, Raquel Gonzalez. Dakota Kai wins the match pretty handily via submission at 2 minutes and 42 seconds. Alright, not bad. Okay fight. Wish it was a little longer. Wish the fight would have gone better, but I mean, maybe 1 star, 1.25. Really nothing more to add. Anthony, you can just give me a quick thought.
It was the natural next step after last week, but Kai went one far too fast to make this a real rivalry. Kai has now defeated Canton, Zaro, and Carter in lightly competitive squashes. And what's the next step? The two faces are just going to lose the coming tag team bout as well. Right now is the right time to begin truly building Canton, Zaro, and Carter as a tag team. They don't necessarily have to beat Kai and Gonzalez, but they should look competitive at the least. Give it an effort. So that's all I can say. 1.5. I agree with the rating. Let's move on.
Then we had Bronson Reed versus Leon Ruff. Bronson Reed won the match in 24 seconds. Whoa! Who saw that coming? Reed looked really good on tonight on NXT. Definitely well on his way. Then we had a promo. Then we had I guess you could say, a promo segment that was basically done for, I guess we can say, the artist formerly known as El Hijo de Fantasma, and of course, everybody remembers King Cuerno as well. Santos Escobar, Anthony's favorite new guy, flunked by Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde. Of course, you also had Drake Maverick come out. So we'll see how that plays out. And then there's a big announcement, Anthony. Next week, we got quite a few fights here on NXT that we should get our hands on. Killian Cross goes one-on-one against Bronson Reed. Now, Cross has been pretty dominant. Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, the other one we also have is Damian Priest one-on-one with Cameron Grimes. That could be a pretty good match. And then, of course, the main event, the one we talked about, the big match. The triple threat for the North American title. NXT is already setting this up to be a pretty big night. This is a pretty big show coming up. And then, main event, this was highly coveted. Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox versus Sasha Banks and Bayley for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Sasha Banks and Bayley successfully defends the title as Shotzi Blackheart taps out to the bank statement of Sasha Banks. Anthony Florio, very, very good main event.
I'd go as far as to call it the fight of the night, MF.
Agreed.
No doubt about it here. Your girls from SmackDown, they did their thing. The women's tag team titles still exclusive to Friday Night SmackDown, much to the delight of MF, because he's got that piece of gold on his show, no doubt about it. 3.5 stars. I mean, this was a fun main event where the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions once again delivered. Their title defenses have both been quality encounters, fueled by how generous they are to their opponents. Shotzi Blackheart especially looked fantastic in this bout. Io Shirai's post-match attack could lead to some great contests down the line. Shirai versus Bayley or Sasha could be a true show stealer. And she could also find herself a partner to set up another great defense by the Women's Tag Team Champions. And they will do so this coming Monday night on Raw, where Sasha and Bayley will once again defend their Women's Tag Team titles against Monday Night Raw's Iconics. And we'll be on the opposite sides of the fence on this one. So, and by the way, apologies to all you great fans out there, because we did not do Ridiculously Raw, because after how horrible that show was, I was like, it is not worthy of a review. Absolutely not. It would have been nothing but cutouts and rants. And you fans deserve better than that. So that's why we didn't do it. But hopefully come Monday night, we'll be ready. So that's all I can say on that. I pray for a better show. So just wanted to get that off my chest quick. So no question about it, MF. This was the fight of the night, 3.5 stars. Shotzi Blackheart looked great, like I said. But Io Shirai, though, I mean, Io against Sasha or Bayley, MF, that could be some intriguing television. And Sasha and Bayley, another title defense against the Iconics Monday Night on Raw.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Io versus Bailey would actually be really good. Why not? Champion versus champion, 1-on-1. I mean, that would be a really good match. And then, of course, Sasha and Io would also be really good as well. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Of course, there is a big title defense Monday night on Raw. You know what? I'll say this. Everybody's dumping on Bailey about not being a fighting champion when it comes to the SmackDown Women's title. You cannot say that about her being the WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, because right now she's been putting that belt up a lot lately. So I mean, unlike her reign as SmackDown Women's Champion, Bailey has been a fighting champion, especially now more than ever. Uh, Defended the title in a triple threat, successfully defended that. Had to defend the titles tonight, successfully defend that. Has to defend the titles Monday night on Raw. Hopefully they successfully defend there. But don't underestimate the Iconics. That's all I'm saying. I know these girls really well. They could definitely pull a rabbit out of the hat and shock the world and pull a major upset and leave me heartbroken. Even though I love Billy, I love Peyton,
Your
but
favorite tag team.
they are my favorite tag team, but they could literally break my heart in so many ways if they win these
Yeah.
tag team titles on Monday night on Raw. Uh, because A, the belts go back to Raw. Two, it'd be like a betrayal. You're supposed to be with me, girls. You're supposed to be riding with me. Ride or die. You're not supposed to do this to me. But they could. They could literally rip my heart out on Monday night. You don't know. Anything can
Very
happen.
easily.
So I'm gonna say this. This was a decent NXT show. I mean, did it beat AEW? Nope, not a chance. AEW was definitely the
Nope.
far more superior show. They definitely won the week, but man, they really set it this thing up where they could probably dominate next week. You got three good fights. You got a be a man fight with when you got Reed, when you got Bronson Reed versus Killian Cross. That got the makings of a boss fight. And then the main event, the triple threat for the North American title, where the winner gets an opportunity to fight Adam Cole title for title, winner take all on July 8th.
Mhm.
Come on. How does that not scream fight of the night? So, definitely decent NXT. It took a step back, not as good as the other NXT shows that they've been recently, but man, next week and beyond, they're setting themselves up for quite a night. Anthony, it's yours.
I'll sum it up by saying this, MF. When it comes to tonight's NXT, it was bookended. It was bookended by the two big tag team title matches, and both tag team titles the matches delivered. The women's, I think, was just a little more entertaining than the men's, but still, both tag team title matches were great. Go out of your way to see both of those matches. And then the other big moment was, of course, the big bomb that was dropped by Mr. Regal, announcing that we will see Lee versus Gargano versus Balor in a triple threat match for the North American Championship next week. And then the winner of that match will go on to face Adam Cole on July the 8th for both the North American and NXT championships. Winner take all. I mean, that winner take all match could be NXT's fight of the year if all goes well. So all in all, it was an enjoyable show. I mean, the 2 hours mostly flew by. There was great stuff. Main event was really good. The promo of the titles felt like a big deal. The women got to shine, and the ending of the show has a lot of intrigue to it. So if I had to put a rating on this, I would probably say maybe about 7.5 for NXT. But AEW was definitely the winner tonight. next week is really NXT's last chance to beat AEW because I mean I'm not really sure they can match up with AEW come July 1 and 8 because of the Fighter Fest. They don't really have anything lined up to counteract July 1. But oh boy, they got something really big to counteract night 2 on July the 8th, and that's the big winner take all match with Cole against either Lee, Gargano, or Balor. I'm going on the record. I'm going with Keith Lee. I'm sure MF agrees with it. So there's nothing more to say. MF, all I can say is about 7.5 if I was to put a rating on this. So
Okay.
Friday night on SmackDown, I've been informed that Firefly Funhouse is back.
Yeah.
Funhouse is coming back.
Yep.
Andy Rose is going to be on the Miz TV.
Yep.
And I also heard, according to the Bottom Line on the backstage on FS1 last night, something MF's been dying to see, and you're going to finally get it, MF. Your boy, Matt Riddle, is going to make his SmackDown debut.
Matt Riddle making his SmackDown debut, and we're also going to hear from the Intercontinental Champion, the phenomenal AJ Styles, practically doing a victory lap after winning the title a week ago over Daniel Bryan in what undoubtedly was, I'm going to say it, probably one of the best Intercontinental title matches we have seen in a very long time. So that's on Friday night, and for the first time in a long time, there will be a Mikey's Mindset, and I'm going to Japan. Yes, guys, the New Japan Cup has jumped off. We do got some results from New Japan, and I will give you guys those results and the rundown of what's going on in Japan. They are back, and boys, they are back with a vengeance. They're really bringing the heat now. So New Japan is back, better than ever, and it's so glad to see them boys back. I'm so excited. So 10:30 as always on Friday night. So for Anthony Florio, I'm good MF, Michael Fletcher. You know the routine, everybody. Like, leave a comment at the bottom, share with all your friends on all the social media networks. Hugs and hand pounds. And for all of us here, so long for now, and we'll see you on Friday night.
Goodbye.